Who would have thought that a movie about a conclave could be so fascinating and engaging? And that's what this movie had for it, 100%. And then the end happened. I'm going to add the caveat that that's not to say I outright hate this movie, because I don't. I was fully engaged in this film, you guys. I mean, the acting in here was fantastic. The cinematography was very interesting. I liked the way certain shots were framed, and the pacing I felt was pretty good. It was a 2-hour movie, but honestly, the way the narrative flowed was so effective that for me, I was just like, and there's a moment in the film, an hour and a half in, where something happens and my jaw just literally dropped. I was just like, the camera had seen me in the movie theater with that look on my face. There were some subtle moments of humor, but I can't really say that this is a humorous film. Just certain situational moments were a little bit humorous. It was interesting to see the inner workings of the Vatican and how they elect or select a new pope. I knew a little bit about how that went, but there was a lot more that was shown. And basically, this film, it has sort of some mystery investigation stuff going on in it, but it feels like a political drama, because throughout the oh my gosh, I just jumped right into this. Sorry. This movie is about a conclave they have when a pope dies. I mean, the title kind of gives that away, but that's the premise. And Ralph Fiennes plays, whatever. He plays someone in a position of running the conclave. And you can tell he's trying to do his best to do a good job. He tries to remain neutral about everything. He tries to do what he feels is right. He's also having a bit of issues and doubts that he's having, and it delves into issues with the Catholic Church, the history that they've had with certain things. So it doesn't really shy away from that, but it also, I felt like in some ways it had an interesting balancing act to play. It showed flaws, but then it also showed humans in different degrees of like personality, or like, let's say, humans struggling with trying to do what they feel is right, but then also getting pulled in these different directions because of political stuff that's going on in the church, and the different people that are up for election, and all of this scheming and conniving and manipulation and wheeling and dealing that's going on in the background to try to get this, a particular person to win or not win. And it was interesting to see all this play out. Unfortunately, before I went in to see it, I had also seen kind of the plot twist given away on Twitter. And then I saw a headline of a video review that also kind of informed me that there was some stuff that was going on with this that wasn't necessarily going to sit well with some people. So I went into it knowing that much, knowing that there was going to be this ending, or I didn't know the specifics, but I knew that was where it was heading. And I knew that there were potentially other issues with it. And I rated this 3.25 on Criticlist and Letterboxd. I couldn't really go lower than that because this movie had so much that I really enjoyed and appreciated about it. And it didn't make me angry, like outright angry or hugely pissed when certain things happened or were revealed. It was a bit cringe. I did do a really hard inward eyeball roll because I was thinking, and I'm actually not going to get into spoilers about that, because I do think this is a film worth watching, just for the great performances and for how the story unfolds, how effectively it unfolds, and just kind of keeps you pulled into the drama of the situation and the stuff that his character finds out about these different people. I also thought it was interesting how the director showed the complexities of what these people were dealing with, and very nuanced characters, which I appreciated that a lot because nuanced characters are very interesting. But there was also some stuff that would be a little frustrating about the main character. In the beginning, he starts off, he's walking this fine line in his duties. There are certain rules he has to follow. He doesn't want to be influenced one way or the other. He wants to be neutral. And yet there were times where, like, let's say he doesn't want to see certain secrets because he doesn't want to be influenced, but then at the same time he starts to involve himself more and more in the political maneuverings and scheming and stuff that's going on. Not to say that he goes like legit dark side, but what I mean is he gets sucked into these things that start to sway his initial resolve. And that was a bit frustrating for me. I guess, if he tried to be completely above reproach, he would be a boring character. But there were times that it did feel like he was talking out of both sides of his mouth, and that was a skosh frustrating, though he pulled it off well. I really enjoyed his performance in here. The subject matter, the stuff that's revealed at the end, it was cringe, like I've already said, especially given what's going on in society today regarding a certain subject matter or narrative. And because of that, the messaging for me unquestionably felt agenda motivated, which is something that doesn't work in the film's favor. If this were something that I watched 15 to 20 years ago, it probably would have worked a lot more. But the timing of this doesn't help because of how bogged down it feels like certain segments of society are becoming in a particular issue. I couldn't help but think of that when I watched this. And so that really did notch this down quite a bit for me. Otherwise, this movie probably would have been a 4 or 4.5 star movie. There was a lot to appreciate about this. I wouldn't necessarily mind rewatching it. It wasn't so annoying and cringe level to me that I would refuse to watch it again. It didn't reach that level, but it was enough to just kind of make me pull back on the reins a bit. I can't say this is something that I wouldn't recommend. I do recommend checking it out and forming your own opinions about it. And I felt strongly enough about this film that I wanted to talk about it with you guys. It's one of those sort of mixed bags. I don't really feel meh about it. I'm not angry, but I'm not 100% in love with it. Unfortunately, despite all the positives, because there are plenty. The characters, I really did appreciate how those characters were written, and that, I think, was really something that saves this film from being like a 1 or 2 star for me. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Conclave. If you watch it, I'm super curious to see what you guys think about that little twisty incident at the end. Yeah. Okay, you guys, I'm wrapping this one up for now. See you later.